Some people have asked me in the comment section why it is called sunny hot Australia. 1250 watts per square meter in springtime. Guys, welcome back to the Off-Grid Garage here in sunny hot Australia. So 1250 watt per square meter means 200 amps outside. We are having 100 amps only because I'm reducing the power coming into the battery room already. Additional to the battery shelf, I've got some more batteries connected at the moment, and the link between all these batteries is only 63 amps. So I have to throttle down what is coming in from solar. Otherwise we would see 12, 13, 14 kilowatt like this morning. Now we just had a nice shower, cleaning up all the solar panels on the roof here. So hopefully our little clips, they do the work and keep the panels clean. Well, we will check again in 2 or 3 weeks time then and see if there's a difference. And I'm very excited because in this video here right now, we want to finalize the installation in the battery room, the battery and system room, and want to connect the battery shelf to the new battery wall 1.0 or whatever it's called. I don't know yet. So this morning I was already busy here preparing everything in the battery room, and I also had to take off the light because this is exactly where we have to run the cables. Of course it is. And this piece of cardboard with some cheese on the back side is the exact size of the circuit breaker I want to install on this side here. It goes potentially somewhere over here then. And I have to figure out what the distance will be between the cable duct and the circuit breaker. This will be a 4-pole MCCB, pretty large one as you can see. Unfortunately, this one has a bit of lead time, so it could be January until we see this circuit breaker. But we will install a temporary different circuit breaker here, so we can already operate the battery just with a different breaker. Doesn't really matter. Just checking on this pizza circuit breaker here. So this is how it looks like. 185 wide and 255 high. That's exactly this pizza box there. And I'm just checking how high these terminals of this breaker are, because I have to make a decision how far down I move this MCCB, if I move it closer to the cable duct or further away. But the terminals are only 27 millimeters high. So that is pretty much almost right in the middle of this cable duct. So I think we can come down a little bit. But I want to leave at least 100 space, and we've got now 130. So we can move down the pizza a little bit here. $100. Would be easier with 2 hands. That's exactly 100. Cool. Okay, I have to cut a bit of aluminium sheet down there so it sits on the flat surface. And then we cut the cable duct all the way from there, all the way up to the ceiling. And this is what we are going to do right now. So one piece 500, the other piece 600, makes 1100. That is a clean cut here, clean cut here. So much easier. So the 500 piece over here and 600 over there. Yeah, I met with my Sparky this week and he luckily had all the parts in stock which I needed for the skywalk. We call it skywalk. That'll be the connection between the battery shelf and the other side. That was a bit of hard work here. The screws on the right side, they were actually easy because this is just aluminum sheet, 3 millimeters, and they went in like butter. But on the left side, not so much, because you can see the seam there where 2 aluminum sheets come together. And obviously there is a 50 by 50 galvanized steel underneath as a post, which is holding the aluminum sheets, yeah? And of course these screws are going into this post. So they are now really bomb fast, but I had to pre-drill these holes with 2.5 millimeters to get these self-cutting screws actually in. But this is all done. We are nice and centered here with the green line in the cable duct. Perfect. And we do the same over here into the paper wall. Here, this would be a bit tricky. Actually, it won't, because we are super lucky. There, see the black mark? This is where a stud is inside the wall, all the way up. So if you go 20 mil right of the green line, we will drill directly into the stud. Yeah, and that's now in the stud. Okay, I'll do another 2. And then we need to determine if we need one on the right, on the left-hand side here as well, because they're all on the right-hand side, but nothing on the left. So the cable duct might be a bit flimsy on this side, but let's see and find out. So 3 screws in, but they're all on the right-hand side. We need to set some anchors into the plaster wall. I was really hoping we can avoid that, but 1, 2, 3. I need 3 anchors for plasterboard. And I've got the option to use these ones here, spring toggle fasteners, but they are a bit too big, right? Just for a cable duct. They look huge for that. So I found these ones here as well. This is basically the anchor which drives into the plasterboard, and then you put the screw into this cross here afterwards. Obviously these are not as good as these ones, but I feel these ones are a bit over the top, right? I would try these ones first. If these ones fail, we are coming with a hammer. Okay, let's see how we go. This one is in the stud. 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 I'll put some WD-40 on this screw here, which goes into one of these anchors, you know, just so it doesn't rip this 30-year-old anchor apart. Oh, very strong, very, very strong. Good choice. I would say that is more than bombenfest. Cable duct, check. Cable duct, check. So now comes the fun part. The skywalk. Also, thunderstorm rolling in. That could be loud. So when I was with my Sparky this week, I had a look around what he had in stock in terms of cable trays, and I found this beauty. Now it's a 2.4 meter length, 100 millimeter wide, which is exactly as wide as our cable duct. Look at this. How good is that? And I've got 2 full lengths of them, and he told me what they basically do. They put all the cables in they need, put it up in the ceiling, and then just screw it here directly to the rafter. Yeah, and in this case, all the cables are gone, directly under the roof, no problems. I don't want that. I want space, at least 100 millimeters away from the ceiling. Yeah, more like this. So, and I said, you don't need this for any project at the moment? And he said, no, it's a leftover from a previous project and it is in stock now. And I said, not any longer. And now it's here in the off-grid garage. Perfect. So this morning I was already up here on the ladder and used a level and some simple trigonometry to figure out the angle of my roof. And I calculated it with around 10 degrees. And yeah, looking at this here, that could be 10 degrees, right? So on the computer in Tinkercad, I designed some simple wedges which have exactly a 10-degree angle. Because, see, I made 2 of these brackets already, which are sitting underneath this cable tray. Oh, that is a bit tight here. Okay, I'll figure this out later. And these 2 rods basically go up in the rafter. And then I've got this clearance here to put in the cables, maintain them, put more cables in, change the cables to thicker ones, and everything I need to do. Yeah, but now with the angle of the roof, this bracket would actually sit in the same angle as the roof is. And this is not great, because the cables are fairly heavy. And they try to push this holder in this direction again, yeah? Just gravity wants to pull it straight. So I thought about a method to keep the holder actually straight. Let me show you. Sun is shining and it is raining. What do we make? 4.4 kilowatt. Nice. So what we obviously have is our roof, yeah, on a 10-degree angle. So I designed these wedges here where one is going this way on top of the roof, no, on top of the rafter, and the other one is sitting below the rafter, yeah. So the roof can still be on 10 degrees. Yeah, can you see what these two angles do? They basically compensate for these 10 degrees. And the bracket holding the cable tray is straight. Yeah, and obviously we've got another wedge here on top of the bracket, like this. And this allows the cable tray to follow the angle of the roof. But our bracket will be straight. Yeah, at this point I'm not 100% sure if this all works, but we give it a try. Yeah, and secondly, you probably can see it like there's a bit of a gap, right? I would like to have this cable tray here a bit on a radius, yeah, coming downwards towards this cable duct. And we should be able to achieve this relatively easily by cutting into the side walls of this cable tray and then slightly bend the bottom so it comes all the way nicely down in a radius. This also saves these cables from going over a sharp corner. I need to hold this cable tray. And the same on the other side here. We will cut the side walls of the cable tray as well and bend the bottom down so it has actually a nice radius coming down into the cable duct. Oh, it will be very smooth. So much easier. Look at this shit, huh? How smooth it goes around this corner. Oh, that is amazing. Yeah, I've chipped away a bit from the floor here of this cable tray and left the walls standing. So we can actually screw the walls here to the cable duct. Because here there is no support to the ceiling anymore. So here I can attach the cable tray to the cable duct. Come a bit further down like this. That is cool. And I can bend this one here very easily as we go, as we need it. To make sure we've got a nice smooth flow of the cable around this otherwise sharp corner. That is freaking amazing. Or how we Germans say, super geil. So I've now marked the middle of this bracket here with a pen. Hold this one up to the rafter, like this. So the actual laser hits the middle, there. And then I've marked where the holes need to be for these two studs. How easy is it to work with this laser? That is just such an amazing tool. Man, if you haven't got one, the link is down below. Get one. They are 50 bucks or something on Amazon, on AliExpress. Amazing tools. Look at this shit. Gives me the position all the way around for my cable tray, for my cable ducts, everything. Click the link down below. They make them with green and red lasers. So I've got one wedge sitting here in the profile. The other one sits underneath. And the bracket is actually straight. Look at this. Otherwise the bracket would be sitting like this. And now it sits like this. But I leave this one a bit loose because so I can turn it away, put the cable tray in, close it, and then we lock it in place. So, and here on the other side I have done exactly the same with the cable tray. I've cut it in 3 times, took a bit away of the floor of the bottom, and then I can just bend it, and bend it here, more here, more here. So eventually it will connect to the cable duct. I put some screws in here on the side, and we've got a super smooth, nice curve, rounded shape, not sharp corner at all for the cables. Yup. Perfect. Put a bit of lid from the top, put the lid from the bottom, have a little gap here where the cables go in. Nice. So I'm just trying here with a 50mm cable to go over this radius to see if it's alright or if I need to cut another slot and make it even smoother. Yeah, this one has no trouble following exactly this bend, so that's actually pretty good. But we are not using 50mm cable, we are using something a lot bigger than 15mm, so I think it's okay. So that's how it looks like then. I've temporarily mounted the cable tray now. All the wedges are still missing there, but I wanted to get an idea how the bend actually looks like. And we also need to make a decision how far this piece here at the back or at the beginning needs to overlap. That's probably not too bad actually. But you know what? It is 5:45, spat o'clock, and we will postpone this decision until tomorrow morning. Guys, by the way, thank you very much for all your donations here on the channel, buying me a beer, a coffee, a smoothie. Thank you very, very much for your overall support. Alright, my friends, you have a good evening, wonderful night, a good night's sleep, and we see us again tomorrow morning. And then we finalize the skywalk. Good morning and welcome back to the Off-Grid Garage YouTube channel. Alright, my friends. Today we want to finalize the sky. I thought about the name. Skywalk is maybe not the right name because nobody will ever walk on this one here, yeah? I thought about Sky Bridge. So today we want to finalize the Sky Bridge construct here, bringing the cables from the battery shelf all the way across the ceiling to the other side where we connect the batteries. And we are in the final stages. I have already cut the cable tray yesterday, and we make this nice curve here at the end to let the cables go smoothly into this cable duct. So I just need to figure out where these two cable trays are overlapping now. So what I have done now is separated the bottom and the side walls of this cable tray. Huh? Got this wonderful piece of timber left over from our door frame, and I hope, it fits like a glove. So piece of timber in here, two clamps holding these pieces together, and we've got this cut sidewall of the shorter piece here on the outside of the original cable tray, and I will screw them together maybe 2, 3, 4 times on both sides. And also the bottom here needs to be screwed together, and then we can determine the height and drill some holes here into these fins, into the cable duct, screws in, holding everything in place. It's not too bad. I'm using these button head screws here, so they sit on the inside where the cable run is, and we've got a very round and nice and smooth finish here, so there's no sharp corner, nothing. And I've got these ones in silver as well, a round head, no sharp corners, so no harm to the cables. These are all leftovers from our battery builds here, coming out of these boxes. Right, so now we are taking off the whole sky bridge again, because I've got the line up between these two parts of the cable tray. I've drilled all the important holes now, and now I can finish it here on the floor. So much easier to drill and put all the screws in. And I also want to paint all the drill holes, cuts, corners. So both parts of the cable tray have been joined now over there. It is actually not the prettiest, I must admit. I don't like these black screws, and they are far too long. See how they stick out? But I haven't got any others. I either need to cut them. Something for a future project. See how they stick out on the side? I don't like this. They're too long. I know, right? Who cares? Well, it's the OCD. Doesn't work. So my friends, last 2 screws. I had to take off the whole sky bridge again because I have forgotten to drill these holes over here on the side, and I cannot reach this because of the aircon. And on the other side there is the solar charge controller in the way, which obviously I cannot take off easily. So I had to take off the sky bridge again, drill these holes, and I took this opportunity to also cut the screws off. This is just for the sake of my OCD, and I probably have to do the same here as well, because they're sticking out quite a bit. Maybe I'll leave it here for the industrial look. What do you reckon? Yeah, and then you ask yourself, how did you get the holes into the cable duct? I heated up this Allen key with a torch and then melted through the plastic. I tell you what, this is a true do-it-yourself project. Yeah, I didn't think about these 2 holes here, or 4 holes in the cable tray, and there's no access here with a battery drill or something, and even worse over there's only 40 mil. That's all. So a hot Allen key did the trick. Well, this was another hour wasted, just taking everything off again. But now it's almost done. Well, we've got 2, all we need. Just if you wonder how I tighten these screws. Well, exactly like this. We've got our wedge in between, and this is all bombenfest. I was actually hanging on one of these supports until this rafter started bending. And we don't want to have a bended rafter in the garage, right? Okay, I'll do the same over there, and then we are done. All right, my friends, there you have it. This sky bridge is ready. We can now connect the battery shelf via the sky bridge with the battery power wall, whatever it's called. Yeah, I probably have gone a bit above the limit with my wedges and wanted to have these holders straight. But hey, it's a do-it-yourself job, so it's always worth going the extra mile. And we have a nice radius here where the cables come down into the cable duct, into the battery shelf. And here on this side as well, nice radius, cables coming down, connecting to the main circuit breaker and then to the main bus bar over here. So I like it. It's a good solution. And it is accessible. So if we need to pull more cables in the future, we have everything in place to do that. So that's why I didn't like to have the cable tray directly on the ceiling with no access whatsoever. I think this is far better. Tiny bit more work, but a better solution. Alright my friends, the next thunderstorm is rolling in, so I'm signing off for today. Have to clean up this mess. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for all your amazing support here on the channel. Special thanks goes to all these beautiful people who are donating to the channel in what form ever. Thank you very, very much. Alright my friends, until the next video, you stay charged, stay safe, and thanks again for watching. See you then. Bye bye.